Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Julia Trubkina from 90 Day, The Last Resort enjoys taking care of her fur babies, but she may choose not to have her own children with Brandon Gibbs in the future. Julia and Brandon met when she worked as a go-go dancer in Russia. Their relationship progressed, and they got engaged in Iceland. In 2020, Julia finally moved to the United States from Russia on a K-1 visa to marry Brandon. Initially, Julia faced challenges adjusting to farm life, while living with Brandon's parents, Ron and Betty Gibbs, on their farm, as she is from a big city in Russia. Julia and Brandon were married in 2020, and shortly after the wedding, she expressed a desire to expand their family by having a baby. However, at the time, Brandon wasn't fully prepared for parental responsibilities. Over the past few years, they have set up their new house and traveled as much as possible. Now that the couple has been married for 5 years, Brandon wishes to experience fatherhood, but Julia isn't yet ready. During 90 Day, The Last Resort, she shared concerns about feeling that her husband was still too immature to have a baby. Julia and Brandon moved out of the farm as per Julia's wishes and started living independently in an apartment. They eventually purchased their own house in Virginia Beach, Virginia. However, this major financial decision caused them to have money problems. With Brandon as the sole full-time worker, Julia felt the need to find employment to help with their finances. She attempted to work as a go-go dancer, a choice that Brandon didn't approve of. In addition to financial struggles, the couple also had disagreements about future goals, such as starting a family. Julia Trubkina from 90 Day, The Last Resort has shared whether she can have a baby with Brandon Gibbs amid the struggles they faced in their 5-year-old marriage. Julia from Russia and Brandon from Virginia had met through Brandon's friends who saw Julia dancing in a club. Brandon flew to South Korea to meet Julia in person since he already knew he wanted her as a wife. Julia left her glamorous life behind to move to a farm, all for Brandon. Julia might not have expected that she'd spend years trying to find a job in the US. The past few years have also been difficult for Julia, who faced issues with her immigration, had to win Brandon's trust again after a cheating incident, and also failed to get along with her in-laws. Brandon and Julia were clashing when they decided to grow their family. Julia seemed to have completely given up on the idea of becoming a mom, while Brandon was refusing to give up. However, 90 Day, The Last Resort Season 2 revealed a different side to their painful story. Julia first opened up about the baby topic in May 2023. Julia shared how it didn't matter if she had been married for 3 years or 10, it does not oblige anyone to have children. Julia admitted that she and Brandon had not tried to have children as it had never been their goal. She didn't want to depend on society or stereotypes to dictate when the right time for having kids would be for her. However, Julia did make a shocking declaration in the same post. Julia added that no one knew what was going on between her and Brandon. They were focused on solving important questions about their future together. Julia also admitted to having health issues, which she had to deal with. She never specified them in the post. She added that she needed to work out the problems of having children in her head. In general, everything is gradual, Julia wrote cryptically in her note. Shortly after, Julia voiced her opinion on why she was not having kids and made it look like it was someone she discussed with Brandon. Brandon shared a different Instagram post of his own to suggest he didn't agree with her. Brandon wrote that he keeps hearing questions from everyone, and even he was asked for his opinion about children. Brandon admitted that it was hard to be 100% ready for this. But he also thought that part of her was already saying, why not start trying? Brandon added that we had a conversation with Julia, but that she had said no. Brandon did not specify who he meant when he said we, but it was a given that he meant his parents, Betty and Ron Gibbs. Brandon accepted that he did not have the right to force or do something without Julia's approval. In the same year, in October, Brandon seemed to share what was stopping him from having kids with Julia. He wrote about how he saw people having 2 or more children. "We are afraid that we cannot afford one child," Brandon confessed.